Hi City Life family, I'm here with another travel update. Not that we're going very far at this moment in time, but there are three different things I just want to quickly talk about just to communicate heart and a sense of what God is still saying to us and just letting us really talk together about these things and keep talking about them as we see how God shapes our journey together. I was listening to Lectio 365 on Thursday. I don't know if any of you listened to that, but it was the story of Elijah at Mount Carmel with the prophets of Baal. But he went out on a limb to prove God. And where the people of Israel were also a bit double-minded, they'd lost a bit of trust and faith, this miracle of God licking up the sacrifice and all the water and burning it all up with the fire that he sent at Elijah's request, just had the people prostrated on the floor and saying, "The Lord, he is God," as that fire fell. And you can find that story in 1 Kings 18, 36 to 39. And there were just certain things about it that reminded me as to where we are at this time. We're out on a bit of a limb. We are asking God to send his fire again. And so this was what Elijah said. "Lord, let it be known that you are God and that we are your servants and have done these things at your command. Answer us, Lord, so that people will know that you, O Lord, are God and you are turning hearts back to you again." Then the fire of God fell, and when all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God." That's what I feel God wants to do for our hearts. I changed the words to we rather than I because I'm using it almost prophetically like that, just asking God, send your fire, change our hearts, have us on our faces again saying, "The Lord, he is God," and just trusting him for this journey as we've gone out on a limb. Everybody else in the city, lots of other church friends of ours, very excited about the journey. It doesn't feel quite so exciting necessarily when you're on it, not knowing what next steps will be, but we are pioneering something, and that in itself is who we are supposed to be, and it's exciting, and we can trust God in the journey. So it is about the journey. It is about not the destination or looking back to where we've come from. It is about journey and what God wants to show us on the journey. So actually, for somebody like me who always likes to know where we're going, know how it looks, the actual thought of journeying is always something I'm trying to get out of the way so that I can arrive. But actually, God is very much saying it's about the journeying and what he's going to show us on the journey, what he's going to teach us, how he's going to shape us along the actual journey. And the journey is the most important thing at this time. So we've had a lot of analogies about how this might look, the sort of the pictures of journey, things like boats, a flotilla of boats, walking together in different groupings and different paces and times. All of these things have come through different prophetic people, different times. We've had making a home for God and with rooms in it, different rooms that he can dwell in and make home in. And that has informed our website, as you will see if you've looked at our new website. So we've got these analogies of what it's like, and they hold so far, obviously. They're not to be sort of a structure in themselves, in and of themselves, because God hasn't yet shown us a structure in and of itself. I think it's going to emerge out of other things that he's saying. So our travel update really is about how we're allowing God to, through our practices at this time, to shape us and show us what things will emerge in terms of structure and strategy. And it's more really about keeping hold of the things that he's talking about and trying to put those into practice. I think those things are that we need to focus on the journey, as I said. We need to make the journey our focus, not the destination, not where we've come from. We need to call out for a move of God to set our hearts on fire. We need us to hear God individually and corporately for next steps. It is the priesthood of all believers that God is going to speak to, not just leadership or ones and twos, all the priesthood of believers he wants to speak to about next steps. He wants us to practice hospitality and just keep connecting. It's so important at this time that we just connect to God and connect to one another, and hospitality is a great way of doing that. Eating together, meeting together, and maybe we'll meet with all sorts of people at this time and just keep the connections going, and maybe out of that, and maybe we'll involve a few people who we met during lockdown a bit further and we built with a bit more fully. or people that we know from our workplace that we've just started to talk to about things a bit more deeply since we've been through this last year. But it's about inviting people around the table and connecting with them there. And I think we need to look at how we can keep our connections to one another particularly and to God going, and then begin to explore as well other connections that God would have us make and who he would have them make them with, both inside and outside of the church. So that makes it authentic family community when we eat together, doesn't it? So just a big encouragement to keep meeting, keep eating, keep talking, keep praying, and God will show us what's coming next. And discipleship is another word that has been spoken at this time, that we need to look for those we can take on the journey with us, that will walk alongside us, whether we're serving in a particular area and somebody will come alongside us there, whether we're just helping them grow in God and their knowledge of God, whether we're ready to do an alpha with them, whatever God is putting in our way, helping one another to grow and helping others to begin to grow in God is really important. Discipleship is very important, and hospitality also paves way for that, doesn't it? So the other thing that came through strongly was about going smaller in our grouping so that the whole church can be involved, and especially with lockdown and rules of 6 and still the difficulties with meeting in larger gatherings, it does seem the way to actually go practically and for health and safety of everybody is to just look for smaller groupings and ways of including people into those groupings with whole church involvement. People rising up to say, come into my home, come around my table, and begin to have those chats about Jesus. And thirdly and finally, just want to say, I think God is saying there's no rush. Of course, we'd like him to rush. Of course, we'd like, people like me like to know the answers. We like to know where we're going. We like to know what it's looking like when we get there, what to expect. We're focusing very often, as I say, on the destination. But God's saying there's no rush. He's not going to rush to get us there. He's going to work on our hearts. That's far more important, and do what he wants to do that way. But in that time and space, he wants us to know it's a gift. He wants us to use it wisely, not fret about it, not feel under pressure because we haven't maybe got all the answers we thought we should have by now. And as a leadership team, we're taking that very seriously ourselves, because obviously we'd love to have answers. We'd love to have steps. We'd love to have a hub. We'd love to have all these things, but they aren't coming to us at this time. God is not providing those things at this time. He's wanting us to wait on him. And so that's what we're having to do. And that's what we encourage you to do too. But Mel Pooley wrapped it up beautifully in one of her lovely poems. So I'm just going to end this travel update with her poem called The Gift of Time. See this waiting as a gift, the gift of time. Take this moment to pause. There's no need to fill the space. No need to be in motion. No need to rush. Take these minutes to notice. There are sounds and songs, the motion of nature. There is beauty in the rise and fall of your breath. Take time to reflect on what has been, on what is, and on what is still to come. This time has been gifted to you. Can't put it better. So God bless. Keep journeying, keep connecting, keep praying, and everything else will emerge. God bless.